Welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of coins, rare discoveries, and hidden treasures that could be sitting in your pocket change. Today we are going to take you on a long, detailed journey through the history, value, and unique story of the 1987 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that at first glance looks like an ordinary piece of change, but has proven to be worth thousands of dollars to collectors with a staggering current market value of $50,868. The 1987 D. Lincoln penny comes from the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln penny has been one of the most iconic and most widely recognized coins in United States history. The portrait on the obverse was designed by Victor David Brenner and features Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. The reverse at that time in 1987 carried the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. This reverse design shows the Lincoln Memorial in fine detail, with even a tiny image of the seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns. This was one of the longest-running reverse designs in American coinage history, used until 2008 before being replaced with the shield design in 2010. Now, the 1987 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why it carries the D Mint mark under the date on the obverse. Millions upon millions of these coins were produced in 1987 as the penny was still being used heavily in circulation. The composition of the coin by this time had already shifted from copper to a copper-plated zinc core. This change occurred in 1982 because the price of copper had risen so high that the metal content of the penny was worth more than the face value. So beginning in 1982, the United States Mint produced pennies with a core of zinc that made up 97.5% of the coin and a thin copper plating that made up 2.5%. This means the 1987 D penny is primarily zinc with a copper plating, which is important because this composition change often caused striking problems, errors, and quality control issues. When we talk about the 1987 D penny, most people would assume that because billions of them were made, they are only worth 1 cent, but the truth is certain examples can be worth an enormous amount of money depending on their condition, rarity, and any special characteristics. Collectors and numismatists are always looking for high-quality examples with full red luster, minimal marks, and strong strike quality. In the coin collecting world, coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which runs from poor at grade 1 all the way up to mint state 70. A coin that has survived since 1987 without circulation, where with full original red color and flawless surfaces, can achieve extremely high grades when certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGCF. For the 1987 D penny, examples that have been preserved in mint state condition, especially those graded mint state 67 red or even higher, can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. In fact, the record price for one of these coins reached the incredible sum of $50,868, which stunned many collectors and investors. This is the kind of money that turns an everyday coin into a life-changing discovery, and this is why people are searching their collections, coin rolls, and even pocket change, hoping to stumble upon one of these treasures. To understand why a simple 1987 D penny could fetch such a high price, we need to dig deeper into the factors that influence coin values. First is rarity. While the mintage was massive, the survival rate of coins in pristine condition is extremely low. Most pennies were spent immediately, and spent again for years, accumulating scratches, dents, and discoloration from handling. Only a small fraction were saved in original rolls or mint sets, and even fewer survived with full blazing red copper color without turning brown or spotting. Second is demand. Collectors are drawn to the Lincoln series because it is one of the most popular coin collections in America. Almost every collector starts with the Lincoln cent, so there is always strong demand for high-grade examples of every date and mint mark. Third is grading. Rarity, meaning that while millions exist, only a handful may grade at the very top levels, mint state 67 red and higher, and this creates fierce bidding wars when one of these coins hits the market. Another factor is errors and varieties. The 1980s pennies are known for certain mistakes caused during production. Sometimes you can find double die obverse examples where the date or lettering shows doubling under magnification, sometimes off-center strikes where part of the design is missing or shifted, and sometimes even clipped planchets or wrong planchet strikes. Though these errors are rare, they can add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the value of the coin. So when you are checking a 1987 D penny, you want to carefully examine the date, mint mark lettering, and rim for any signs of doubling, missing details, or unusual shapes that might indicate an error variety. Now let us talk about how to check the value of your 1987 D penny, and why some are worth 1 cent and some are worth $50,000. If your coin is worn, scratched, or discolored from circulation, it will only be worth face value. But if you find one that looks uncirculated with a bright red color, sharp details, and no visible damage, you may have something special. The best way to confirm is to have it graded and certified by a professional company. Grading not only authenticates your coin but also assigns it a grade that collectors trust and are willing to pay top dollar for. If your coin comes back as mint state 67 red or higher, you are sitting on a gold mine. The $50,868 sale came from one of these rare top-grade coins. This record was achieved at a major auction house where serious collectors compete for the best of the best. When such coins appear, they create bidding wars because everyone wants the finest known example for their collection, and the price can skyrocket far above the expected value. Collectors also care about the historical significance of the coin. The 1980s was a transitional period for the Lincoln cent as the mint was still adjusting to the zinc composition change. Many coins from this era show issues like weak strikes or unattractive spots, so finding one in perfect condition is even more challenging. This historical context adds to the desirability of the 1987 D penny for those who want to collect these coins. The key is patience and careful searching. Start by checking all of your change jars, piggy banks, and coin rolls. You never know when a gem might appear. Bank coin roll hunting is a great way to search through hundreds of pennies at low cost. While the odds of finding a $50,000 coin are slim, it is possible to find high-grade examples that could be worth hundreds or thousands. Collectors have stories of discovering rare coins in everyday change, and your 1987 D penny might be waiting for you in the most unexpected place. To recap, the 1987 D mint mark Lincoln penny may look ordinary, but it carries a hidden value that could reach over $50,000. Its history ties back to the long legacy of the Lincoln cent series, which has been beloved by collectors for more than a century. Its composition of zinc with copper plating reflects the economic changes of the early 1980s. Its rarity in high grades makes it a treasure among billions. Its desirability is driven by collectors passionate about completing their sets, and its record value proves that even modern coins from the late 20th century can command life-changing amounts of money. So the next time you find a penny in your pocket, do not ignore it. Check the date, look for that D mint mark under 1987, and pay attention to the condition, because you might just be holding a coin worth $50,868. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family so they too can learn about the treasures hidden in everyday change. Stay tuned for more videos where we explore the rarest and most valuable coins that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Thank you for watching, and remember, every coin has a story, and some stories are worth more than you could ever imagine. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting and United States numismatic history. In this episode, we will focus entirely on one particular coin that might look ordinary to most people but actually carries incredible historical value, collector interest, and a surprising current market price that could shock you. That coin is the 1988 D mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny. At first glance, it may seem like just another small copper-plated coin from your pocket change, but when you really explore its history, its design, its minting process, and its significance to collectors, you begin to realize why certain examples of this coin have sold for thousands of dollars and why one has even reached a staggering market value of $70,958. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, because over the next 35 minutes we will take a journey through time, design, history, and value to truly understand the story behind the 1988 D Lincoln cent. Let's start at the very beginning by going back to the origins of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the first time in United States history that a real historical person, other than symbolic representations like liberty, appeared on an everyday circulating coin. Victor David Brenner was the sculptor who designed the coin, and his design of Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse side has remained on the penny ever since. Over the years, the reverse design has changed from the wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial, and later to the shield design we see today, but the obverse with Lincoln's profile has been a constant symbol of the coin. Fast forward to 1959, the cent underwent a major redesign to mark the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the penny itself. The reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design by Frank Gasparo remained on the penny until 2008. So the 1988 D penny that we are discussing today falls into this Lincoln Memorial design era. On the obverse side we see Lincoln's bust facing right with the word Liberty to the left, the date 1988 to the right, and just below the date we can see the D Mint mark indicating that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint is one of the major United States mints responsible for producing billions of coins each year. The D Mint mark on a penny means that it was minted in Denver, Colorado. In 1988, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Most of these were struck for circulation and entered the hands of the American public through banks, stores, and everyday transactions. Because of the sheer number produced, the average 1988 D penny in circulated condition is worth only its face value, 1 cent. However, the story does not end there, because collectors do not just value coins based on how many exist in total. They also consider condition, rarity of certain errors, and the overall desirability of a specific year and mint mark combination. One reason the 1988 D penny attracts attention is because of its connection to transitional errors and die varieties. During the late 1980s, the United States Mint was preparing for a change in the design of the Lincoln cent. In 1989, a slight but noticeable modification was made to the design of Lincoln's bust. The engraver changed certain details of the bust, such as the shape of the beard, the position of the designer's initials, and subtle aspects of the portrait. In 1988, however, some coins from the Denver Mint were accidentally struck using dies that were intended for the following year's design. This means there are 1988 D pennies with what is known as a reverse of 1989, creating a highly desirable variety for collectors. These transitional design varieties are extremely valuable because they represent minting mistakes that slipped into circulation unnoticed at first but later became significant discoveries in the numismatic community. For collectors, identifying these varieties involves close examination. On the reverse side of the coin, particularly around the letters and Lincoln Memorial design, the characteristics of the 1989 reverse are distinguishable. When paired with the 1988 obverse date and the Denver Mint mark, this creates a rare mismatch that skyrockets the value of the coin. This is not just a simple error but an entire transitional design crossover, which is one of the most fascinating types of numismatic oddities. Now let's talk about condition and grading, because this is where the true market value of the 1988 D Lincoln cent really shines. In circulated condition, meaning a penny that has been used in everyday transactions and shows signs of wear, the coin is worth very little. But when you find a 1988 D penny in mint state condition, with sharp details, bright original luster, and minimal contact marks, the value can increase dramatically. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC assign grades on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. A 1988 D Lincoln penny graded at mint state 65 or higher is considered very collectible. When combined with a transitional error like the reverse of 1989, the price can soar into the tens of thousands of dollars. Auction records have shown some incredible prices for high-grade 1988 D pennies. The current known record value for this coin has reached $70,958. This staggering price reflects not only the rarity of the variety, but also the strong demand from collectors who are always searching for key pieces to complete their sets. It is a reminder that sometimes the smallest coins, often overlooked in our change jars, can carry extraordinary hidden value. The story of the 1988 D penny also connects to the broader world of coin collecting. Collectors love the thrill of the hunt, and Lincoln cents are one of the most collected series in American numismatics. Because they have been produced in such large numbers for over a century, there are countless varieties, errors, and interesting dates to discover. People start collecting pennies as children, searching through pocket change, and often develop a lifelong passion for coins. The 1988 D penny with the reverse of 1989 has become one of those legendary finds that inspire collectors to keep searching every roll of pennies they come across. It is also important to place this coin in the context of the late 1980s. During that time, the penny was already facing questions about its usefulness. Inflation had reduced its purchasing power, yet the government continued producing billions of them each year. The composition had changed in 1982 from nearly solid copper to copper-plated zinc, because copper had become too expensive. This change affected the look, the feel, and even the durability of the penny. The 1988 D penny is therefore made of zinc with a thin copper coating. Collectors often note that post-1982 pennies can corrode more easily and show wear faster, making high-grade survivors even more impressive. So why does this specific coin matter so much? First, it represents a transitional design error. Second, it highlights the challenges the mint faced during that time. Third, it embodies the ongoing fascination with Lincoln cents. And finally, it shows how the market can place immense value on rarity and condition, even for a coin that most people think is worth only a cent. Now let us imagine for a moment that you are searching through a jar of old coins or a bank roll of pennies. You might come across a 1988 D penny. At first glance, you might think it is just ordinary, but if you take a closer look and recognize the subtle differences that indicate a transitional variety, you might be holding a treasure worth thousands of dollars. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. The possibility that a small overlooked coin could actually change your financial situation, or at the very least provide you with a thrilling discovery, keeps collectors motivated year after year. Let's also discuss the market side of things. Coin values fluctuate over time depending on demand, availability, and the overall economy. While one auction may bring in $70,000 for a perfect example, other sales might close at lower numbers. Still, the important fact is that this coin has established itself as one of the key rarities of modern Lincoln cents. It has earned a place in numismatic history and will continue to attract attention for decades to come. If you are interested in collecting or investing in coins like the 1988 D Lincoln cent, the best advice is to educate yourself. Learn how to identify the differences between a normal reverse and the 1989 reverse. Study grading standards and know how condition impacts value. Always handle coins carefully and consider professional grading for pieces you believe to be valuable. Also remember that while not every coin you find will be worth thousands, the search and the knowledge you gain along the way are priceless experiences. Over the years, many collectors have shared stories of finding rare varieties in unexpected places. Some have pulled them from circulation, some from old coin jars in attics, and others from purchased rolls of pennies at the bank. Welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right in your pocket. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most interesting coins from the modern era of American coinage, the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. At first glance it may look like just another ordinary penny, but the truth is this coin has a rich history, a unique story behind its production, and a current market value that has astonished collectors all over the world, reaching as high as $59,477. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to go back to the origins of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first circulating United States coin to feature the image of a real, historical figure, and not just a symbolic representation. The designer of the coin, Victor David Brenner, created the now famous portrait of Lincoln that has remained on the obverse of the coin for more than a century. Over the years, the Lincoln penny has gone through different changes in design, in composition, and in minting processes, and each small change has created opportunities for rare varieties to appear. By 1986, the Lincoln penny had already transitioned from its original bronze composition to a mostly zinc composition. In 1982, the United States Mint decided to switch the penny from 95% copper to a composition that was primarily zinc with only a thin copper plating. This change was made to save money because the rising price of copper meant that the metal inside the penny was worth more than the coin itself. So by 1986, all circulating pennies were composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating, and they were produced in massive numbers at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Now here is where things get interesting in. Most years the Philadelphia Mint would strike pennies without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carried the D mint mark, but there are certain varieties and rare situations where a no mint mark coin can become something extraordinary. For the 1986 penny, a small number of error coins slipped through the minting process. These were struck in ways that made them stand out from the ordinary circulation pennies. Collectors began to discover that some of these no mint mark coins displayed unique characteristics such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, and striking errors that gave them a distinct look. Because errors are often unintentional and rare, they can carry massive premiums on the collector's market. The 1986 no-mint mark penny that has captured the most attention is the one that has been graded in high mint state condition and displays remarkable preservation. A coin in this condition with no visible wear, sharp details, and strong eye appeal can fetch extraordinary prices. The record price for one of these coins is currently $59,477, which shocked many casual collectors who never imagined that a coin so modern could be worth such a fortune. Let us take a moment to understand why collectors are willing to pay so much money for this coin. Rarity, condition, historical interest, and demand all play a role. Rarity is perhaps the most obvious factor. If only a small number of error coins were made and even fewer have survived in pristine condition, then collectors will compete fiercely to own one. Condition is equally important because a coin from 1986 that has survived in mint state condition is unusual. Pennies are small and easily damaged through circulation, so finding one that looks nearly perfect is an accomplishment. Historical interest also adds weight because Lincoln cents are beloved by both beginner and advanced collectors. Finally, demand in the marketplace drives prices higher whenever more people want the coin than the number of coins available. The value skyrockets. Now some of you might be wondering what to look for in your own change or in coin rolls if you are searching for one of these valuable pennies. The first thing is to check the date. If you find a 1986 penny with no mint mark, then you should examine it carefully under good lighting. Look for any signs of doubling on the letters and numbers which might indicate a doubled die error. Pay attention to the sharpness of the details on Lincoln's portrait. If the coin appears unusually crisp with strong details, and know where you might have something worth submitting to a grading service. Professional grading by companies such as PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase the value of your coin because collectors trust the opinions of these certified experts. Beyond the errors and mint mark discussion, we also need to look at how the 1986 penny fits into the broader history of coin collecting. During the 1980s, coin collecting was growing rapidly in popularity. Coin shows and auctions were thriving, and publications devoted to coins were introducing more and more people to the hobby. At the same time, the mint was making changes to coinage and experimenting with new technologies, so coins from this era reflect a transitional time in the hobby and the economy that gives them an added layer of historical value which collectors appreciate. Let us now talk more specifically about values. While the record price is $59,477. Not every 1986 no mint mark penny is worth that much. A typical circulated example found in change might still only be worth 1 cent, but if you find one in uncirculated condition, it might bring anywhere from a few dollars to several $100s depending on its grade and specific characteristics. Those with unique errors or those graded in the highest mint state levels are the ones that bring in the life-changing sums, so the market value can range widely, but the potential for an extraordinary find is what keeps collectors excited. One of the most fascinating aspects of the coin collecting hobby is the idea that treasures can still be found in everyday places. Unlike many collectibles that must be purchased through dealers or specialty stores, coins can appear in your pocket change, in coin rolls from the bank, or in old jars sitting in your family home. This accessibility is what makes stories like the 1986 no mint mark penny so appealing. Anyone has the chance to find one of these coins, and that creates a sense of adventure in the hunt. As we explore the details of this coin, it is important to remember the bigger picture. Coin collecting is not only about money but also about history. Every coin tells a story of the time in which it was created. The 1986 penny reflects the economic realities of the 1980s, the changes in production materials, and the continued legacy of Abraham Lincoln on American currency. It serves as a tangible connection to the past, reminding us of how small everyday objects can carry immense historical and cultural value. Another key point to consider is the grading scale that determines how much a coin is worth. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with 1 being the lowest and 70 being the highest. A coin graded mint state 65, for example, is considered gem quality with only minor imperfections. A coin graded mint state 69 is nearly perfect, and coins at this level are extremely rare for pennies produced in mass quantities. If you happen to find a 1986 no mint mark penny that grades at the highest levels, you could be holding a coin that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often focus on building complete sets covering every year, every mint mark, and every variety. The 1986 no mint mark era pennies represent a missing piece in some of these collections, making them even more desirable for some collectors. The thrill is in completing a set. For others, the excitement lies in owning one of the rarest and most valuable coins of its type. In either case, the 1986 penny has secured its place in the spotlight. Over the years, auction houses have showcased remarkable examples of this coin. When one comes up for sale, it always generates buzz in the coin collecting community because there are so few high-quality examples. The bidding is fierce and prices climb rapidly. The $59,477 record was set at one of these auctions, and since then collectors continue to keep a close eye on the market to see if new records will be broken. Now let us turn our attention to the design of the coin itself. The obverse, as always, features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. His profile has remained nearly unchanged since 1909, though minor adjustments have been made to the details. The reverse in 1986 still featured the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely at the memorial design on the reverse, you can even see a tiny representation of the statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, a detail that adds to the artistry of the coin. The combination of this classic design and the modern zinc composition makes the 1986 penny a bridge between different eras of American coinage. It holds on to the long tradition of honoring Lincoln while also reflecting the economic challenges of its time. These layers of meaning are part of what makes coin collecting so rewarding.